Welcome to the Mound City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. We are going to open the meeting here. And do we want to do the Pledge of Allegiance first?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we'll do that. So if you will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to do number 2. We're doing the oath of officer by City Manager Jesse Dixon. And you can kind of follow along on there, but I'll go first and then Castellano and Herrick.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Jason Holt,
I, Jason Holt.
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Minnesota,
and of the state of Minnesota,
and faithfully discharge the duties of mayor of the city of Mound, Minnesota,
and faithfully discharge the duties of mayor of the city of Mound, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to have you sign this one.
Cool. You want to take a picture?
Sure. If you look just at all.
I don't know. All right, thanks.
I'm just trying to get the city of Mound behind it, so it looks official.
All right, you're up.
Cheat sheet. Cheat sheet. There you go. All right, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Kevin Castellano,
I, Kevin Castellano,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Minnesota,
and of the state of Minnesota,
and faithfully discharge the duties of city council member of the city of Mound, Minnesota,
and faithfully discharge the duties of city council member of the city of Mound, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, you never sign this one.
Mm-hmm.
Just- Take that.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Do a pic.
All right.
Come on now. Thank you.
Looking at doing a face.
This one.
Okay.
All right. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Michelle Herrick,
I'm Michelle Herrick.
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Minnesota,
and the state of Minnesota,
and faithfully discharge the duties of city council member of the city of Mound, Minnesota,
and faithfully discharge the duties of city council member of the city of Mound, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Okay.
Thank you.
One quick one.
Oh, we have to.
All right, if you came for that and you don't want to stay for the rest, it was nice seeing you. All right, so we got our agenda. So does anybody have any amendments to the agenda?
I'd like to pull C and R just for a quick conversation on each.
Okay.
And then we do have an amendment that was sent out by the city clerk, Kevin, last week. It's the Edgewater Park native plan garden expansion to the end of the agenda, the regular agenda.
So the native park will be T.
Oh, that would be in the consent agenda?
It will be number 9 after the
Oh.
engineers.
Oh, yeah.
So after 8, number 9, native park, okay. Okay, does that, okay, well, actually, we're just approving the agenda. So does anybody have any, excuse me, any other things they want to add to the agenda besides the new number 9? All right, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, that passes. All right, so the consent agenda, Councilmember McEnany said she wants to pull C and R, so we will pull those. Does anybody else want to talk about anything else? Okay, hearing none, so can someone go through and just go through each section besides the 2 that we're pulling?
Can do that.
Okay?
Take a deep breath. So consent agenda items A through S, omitting C and R. A, approve payment of claims. B, approve minutes from the November 26th and December 10th regular council meeting. D, approve a resolution appointing city council members as representatives of the city council to committees and commissions for 2025. E, approve a resolution appointing deputy city manager Maggie Reisdorf as acting manager for 2025. Approve a resolution appointing field officer Andrew Drilling as assistant weed inspector for 2025. G, approve a resolution designating the official depositories for 2025. H, approve a resolution designating the Laker as the official newspaper for 2025. I, approve request for commercial kennel license for Mound Emergency Management Division and waiving fee. J, approve resolution making the selection to not waive the statutory tort limits for liability insurance purposes. K, approve resolution amending continuation of CDBG funding of West Tonka Community Action Network. L, approve resolution expressing support for CDBG funding for senior community services. M, approve Hennepin County Assessor open book meeting for April 23rd, located in council chambers. N, approval of Parks and Open Spaces Commissioner Kim Believernick for 3-year term ending December 31st, 2027. O, approve reappointment of Ben Brandt as city rep for LMCD. P, approval of DCC Commissioner Heidi Peterson for 3-year term ending December 31st, 2027. And Q, approve February 18th, 2025 concurrent council and planning commission meeting. S, approve subdivision exemption for property at 5340 Bartlett.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, could I ask, let me think, what is this? Number L be held for discussion? I just want some clarification.
L.
L.
Pull L2.
Okay.
To pull out.
Okay, does anybody else have anything they want to talk about with any of those? Okay, so sans C, L, and R, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Okay, I got a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
And any other discussion on those? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Herrick? Aye or nay, please?
Aye.
Kathy, or Councilmember McEnany?
Aye.
Councilmember Pugh?
Aye.
Councilmember Castellano?
Aye.
Mayor Holt?
Aye. Okay, so all those pass. So let's go through C. So we wanted to pull that.
I just wanted to ask you, Mayor Holt, if you could share what criteria for us and inquiring minds you use in selecting an acting mayor.
So the acting mayor last year was Councilmember Larson, right? I mean, that's a good question.
Well, I'm asking for this year, because I asked you the same question 2 years ago.
Did you?
But it wasn't in here, it was out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. You know, Councilmember Castellano and I, we serve on the Budget Committee, you know, have a good relationship. I mean, I have a good relationship with all you guys, I would imagine, but I don't know. I just thought he would be a good person to, you know, step in
Okay.
if I'm gone, so.
All right. So there's really no criteria except your buddies.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just as much buddies as all of you guys, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. All right, and then I wanted to kind of clarify something on number R. And this came up in that,
We should take each item at one time, and so that if there's no more discussion on it, you should then approve
Okay.
that one and then go
Oh,
on to the
okay.
next.
Okay, so C, can I get a motion to approve the resolution for the acting mayor of 2025?
motion to approve?
Okay, you got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, that passes. So now we're on L?
Okay,
Or-
Mr. Mayor. Okay.
Sorry. Well,
My
let's just go L.
question on L is the Senior Community Services is an excellent organization. My understanding was that their involvement in Mound was through the Gillespie Center. They are no longer doing the Gillespie Center. Are they providing other senior services to Mound as to why we're supporting their CDBG? I mean, they're a well-known organization. I just want clarity as to our support for the CDBG. Supports what?
So I'll be honest, this was the first January meeting that I've been involved in putting together the packet, and this is one this resolution has been in each of the last several years. If there's a clarification that needs to be made, I'd be happy to we can pull it, and if it should be changed, the
Okay.
language should be changed because of something that changed
Did they
from-
contact you and ask for the recommendation?
No, this has just been one that the
It was
city of
just
Mound
because it was standard.
has done every year, but.
Yeah, I think we should probably get some clarification. I mean, they may still be providing services in Mound, even though they're not affiliated with the Gillespie Center anymore, but that was the former relationship, that they were the managers of the Gillespie Center here in Mound.
So maybe maybe the language just needs to be updated to reflect that or something, because I think that the city has generally supported the Gillespie Center. We've kind of memorialized that again anyway with an agreement, so
Yeah, but Gillespie doesn't get CDBG money. Yeah. See,
for this sake, then, I would
Yeah,
suggest.
I think we need to
pulling it.
make sure we've got clarification of what the senior service, community services is doing in Mound. They may be providing some services to individuals in Mound, and we just need to understand if that's the case.
Do you want to pull it and then bring it
Yeah.
back to our next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay,
Since it's an item that's on there, it should be tabled.
okay, table. Okay.
Do I need to make a motion?
Yeah.
Make a motion to table L on the consent agenda.
Okay, I got a motion to table. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, 2 seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, that's tabled. And then we got R.
Yes, I just wanted to, the way the minutes read from the planning commission, the way they read it, it sort of implies that I don't feel like one candidate is, meets my personal expectations. And that's to the contrary. Ms. Wallace is a really attractive candidate. My objection to this is something that has never happened before that any of us could think of in recent memory, and that's that there was literally one candidate applying for 2 positions. So I was questioning, how do we want to handle this? Because we're not given any choice in the matter to choose a candidate that best fits, in this case, the planning commission. But it has nothing to do with this person as a candidate. The process needs to be adjusted. And Jesse and I think Sarah determined that we need to write some new policy directive for this, because the good news is this is, I don't think, ever happened. We haven't hit a handful of people, vying for a position. So I don't know where to go from here. I wasn't saying no to Ms. Wallace as a candidate. I was saying no to the voting to appointing one person where there is nobody else running for the position. That puts us in kind of an odd position, because we need somebody, we want to make sure that person is filling the planning commission with the right information to suit and serve Mound residents. So I just wanted to clarify, it has nothing to do with the candidate. It has to do with the process.
I do agree. I was kind of surprised that we didn't get more applicants, and maybe we should have had a longer window or something. I know people apply and not always get on there, right?
Yeah.
We all know people that have done that, so.
Well, that's the way it should be. It's
Well,
called
it should,
choice.
we should have 10 candidates and pick the best 1 or 2, right? Again, I'm not saying that she's not the perfect pick, but I
She
also.
might be, but we don't know.
But I'm saying it'd be nicer to have a bigger pool, right?
So my question was, what do we want to do? I mean, at this case, this is something that should be decided prior to asking her to come in. Jesse, you can weigh in on this. Is this something we need to put in policy prior to us making a decision tonight? Because it's maybe too late for this particular candidate, but going forward, we should have a directive in place, and that's that we shouldn't be interviewing candidates until, I think we should have at least twice as many as the candidate application is filing for. But we need to talk about that in a policy meeting.
Yeah, I believe it's the working rules that Sarah was mentioning need to be adjusted if that's the desire for going forward. And this was actually supposed to have been in the December meeting, but we reposted it because we had only had one applicant who eventually dropped out. But,
Do you think, is part of the challenge that now that the paper is only by paid subscription, that maybe not as many people are aware that these positions are open?
we used all of our resources. I think
It's been a rough
sometimes.
year.
Yeah, I think sometimes it happens, and it's kind of a poor excuse, but personally, I would just, if you have a good candidate, if the council feels strongly about a candidate, I think it could send a message that,
Sure.
if you don't fill the spot when you do have a good candidate, what does that say to them? I guess my bigger concern is, what would be the plan in the interim? If the plan was to wait for more applicants, then are we just basically putting Sherry on the bench? Is she still considered an applicant? So that's something that's just hasn't been determined, because, like you said, we've never had to deal with this before.
Yeah, I guess if you get a really good applicant, you don't want to turn them
But
away.
you could have the President of the United States as the only applicant, but that doesn't necessarily mean those qualifications work for this. If an architect were standing next to that candidate for a planning commission, I would most likely choose the architect or an engineer. You know, so I'm just saying, right now, we have no choice. We haven't been given a choice. It doesn't matter how great of a candidate she is.
Although-
We have nothing to compare her to.
I think we did have a situation like this once before. For some reason, I'm thinking that we had only one candidate, and we went back out and advertised again, which is what they did here. So there was a second attempt at advertising and letting it be known. And so the Planning Commission, I think, when they voted, they had the right to say, there's only one candidate and we choose not to nominate anyone now and to go out again. Or they could say, we're satisfied with this candidate, we've done the outreach to get more people to respond, we didn't get them, and they could vote her in. And if they voted her in, then that's it.
Well, that was the
yeah.
outcome.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, as a council, is this something we have to address in the future? Because the same thing can happen.
To adopt some
Well, I think
comments.
it happens
to
at
every
that, I
commission.
think it happens at that commission level first. That the commission decides, we want to get more candidates, and they reopen it. And then if they still don't get more candidates, at that point, they can decide to either appoint or recommend appointment, or they can make the recommendation not to recommend.
Well, I
And then-
appreciate that.
and
I
then-
just
and
wanted
then-
to
and then
clarify
that
that
would-
I'm not against
Yeah,
that
right.
that
Yeah, I know.
candidate.
And then, like you said, then it would come to our council, and we might say, well, we want to overturn what planning did, and we want to do that. I think the process is there.
Well, we really, there wasn't a process.
Right.
In terms of, we have 2 open spots, and one person was running for 2 spots.
Well, she couldn't run for 2 spots. She
Well,
could only
but we have
fill
2
one.
openings.
You have
And-
2 openings, but she can
And
only fill one.
we had 2 candidates, and one
Okay.
backed out.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I think that this is something I would like to look at going forward, because I'm not sure if it's,
It was awkward.
yeah.
I was at the
you were
meeting, and, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think we need to look at these working rules. They can come as a commission and make a recommendation, but we probably need to look at this for all of the commissions and make sure we have a standard process and practice across
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
all, so that it's even and fair.
You know, and if it comes up that only one person, which again has rarely ever happened. So the good news for Mound is usually there are interested parties that want to serve on committees, so. But in this case, I'm comfortable with moving forward with the candidate. I just want to get on the record that we should resolve this going forward
We could-
for future.
We could add it for the 18th,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I had it on my list.
So we're doing a joint planning and city council workshop on February 18th.
Although she's talking about not just planning commission, this would affect
All of
parks
them,
and.
because it's
and
just set
for all
policy
of us.
regarding candidate appointments.
Yeah.
So
And
it really falls on
On the
us
staff.
as city
Yeah.
council members
Yeah.
to resolve this, not our commissions.
Yeah.
Okay, would you rather have us workshop this, or do you want the staff
I
to
think
come
we
back
should
with?
workshop it, get the right language, and
Yeah.
bring it back.
In the meantime, can you guys look at what do other cities do? There's got to be a precedence out there for what everybody else does.
Well, we should look at if, what Councilmember Pugh said is right, that we do have a process already. You know, maybe it was awkward, but if there was a process, like, what do we
Well,
already have?
there was no
There wasn't
process.
really a process.
Because
We don't have
my
anything?
issue had to do with one candidate throwing their name in the hat.
Yep.
Well, the interview process still went good, and they determined that she was a candidate, and they moved forward with it. They could have said, well, we're just going to pause and table it, right? I mean, you could have
Yes,
tabled
They
it.
did
Yeah.
discuss
But
that.
it's correct to say we don't have anything right now.
Correct.
No, it's just-
We have
In
a
regards to a tiny,
situation.
you know, there should be at least twice the amount of candidates, so we have some, so it's not an imaginary choice. You know, it's a real choice that we can, you know, make sure the best candidate is on the right committees for our residents.
I mean, like, all we have so far that's like not maybe documented or written down is, like Councilmember Pugh said, is if someone is the only person applying, but the commission is still feeling that they weren't a good applicant, you could still elect to
Could,
not
Well, I know,
choose
but
them.
that's sending a pretty strong message. I mean,
Yeah, I
I'd
know.
like to not put one candidate in that awkward position.
Yeah.
Of,
Yep.
of us having to say, you're not right, bye, go home.
Yeah.
Even though it's not the case this time, but
Yeah.
we should look forward and make sure we don't find ourselves in this position again, and have some process in place, is all I'm
So
suggesting.
you're almost suggesting that we keep advertising until we have multiple candidates for all positions?
Or decrease the number. Does anything say we have to have 9 members on the planning commission? I'm not sure where
I'm not
any of
sure
this
either.
comes
I
from.
mean, technically, we can update that too, if that's what we want to do.
Again, I'm just throwing this out for
Yeah.
discussion.
Yep. The other thing that I've always been my pet peeve too is if you do a 3-year term and you want to do it again, you just crowned that you just get to keep doing. Now, we appoint, we approve it, right? But, and I don't have any problem with the people that we've approved in the past, but, you know, is that the best of Mound?
No, that's not, because I came up in that situation. I applied for a planning commission with 30 years of work in community development. I wasn't even given an interview because the day of the interview, the board member who was supposedly stepping down said, I don't want to step down, I want to stay on the board. And the board said, we're not going to interview.
Because
And
they
I
wanted
was
to go
sitting,
again.
yeah, because he wanted to stay. And so that's unfair too, because it was advertised, and I applied, and I wasn't given my due.
You had to throw your speech in the trash can.
That's right.
And we need to look at those
Yeah,
Yeah,
procedures.
so you know,
So-
you have to be careful about it.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, we've never really had too many problems with this, so, yeah, let's just
Okay,
look at
let's
it.
put this on a workshop, and then, again, maybe there's precedent with other communities,
Yeah.
what they do, and we can decide if we like those or not in a future workshop. So going forward with Ms. Wallace, do we want to, go ahead, does someone want to do a motion to approve R?
I make a motion to approve the appointment of Sherry Wallace to the Planning Commission as recommended by the Planning Commission, right?
Yep. All right, we got a motion, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion, a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that passes. All right, so now we are on to number 5, comments and suggestions from anybody that's present that their item is not on the agenda. If you want to come up and give us your name and address. Welcome.
Thank you.
And give us your name and address.
Kelly Kaiser, 3043 Tuxedo Boulevard. I'm here to talk to you, to inform you of my experience when I was reporting a criminal sexual conduct case and several interactions even after with the Orono Police Department. So this all started in March of 2021 and is going through up to today. During the reporting of my case, I was treated very poorly. My case was not handled appropriately. The police department seemed to focus on my mental health issues more than the actual crime itself. And in doing that, they also dismissed anything that I was telling them. They never viewed evidence that I had submitted to them, which, I mean, it was found way later, but they failed to relay information that I reported to the other investigative team members, failed to include evidence to the prosecutor twice when they submitted my case, which I found out speaking to the prosecutor, she didn't receive that, but failed to document interactions in their case notes when, after the case, I asked for them, and there was just like no mention of important interactions that we had. So after the whole thing was over with, I did file my formal complaint, which was October 27th or something like that, but 24th. And I did receive a reply back, and they are saying that they are going to handle the complaint internally. I've been arguing and voicing my concerns with that, asking for a third party because there was so many people involved in the police department, from the chief of police, a sergeant, 2 investigators, and a few patrol officers, to me, that doesn't seem like that's the appropriate way to handle it. Due to conflict of interest, clearly they are in favor of themselves. To investigate their own complaint doesn't make sense. So I was at the Orono City Council meeting yesterday, requesting again to have the complaint handled outside by a third party to eliminate that conflict of interest. And I'm hoping to get an answer from that, but I just came here today to inform you of the experience that I've had and the lack of support and help that I received when calling them, which is what the police are for.
Right.
So that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
I can
Thank you
understand
for
your
coming forward.
frustration. I can understand how you'd be feeling pretty frustrated here. Is your reason to be here just to inform us or
Yes.
for us to do action, or?
Well, I don't know if
It's
there's
just-
anything, I guess, but I assume there isn't. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like a question to our attorney, because she's a resident of Mound, but Orono provides us police service and her issues with them. Do we need to take a role, or does the city of Orono take precedence in this?
If we have a contract with Orono for their police services, if there's an issue with Orono Police, it's Orono. Any concerns that we may have as a city, we would bring it through our normal channels we would through the agreement, through the commission.
We'll bring it up at the commission, but in the meantime, I'll have Jesse reach out to Orono and the chief and see if, what kind of action that, we can do on your behalf. So we'll do that. And then again, we're going to both be at the police commission next quarter, and we'll mention it too. I'm sure they'll obviously know about it, but.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Thank you for
thank you.
sharing your
Thank you.
concern.
You're welcome.
All right, anybody else? Just give us your name and address.
Sure. Jay Nygaard, 1386 West Point Road, Orono. Many of you may know me. I've been talking to Kelly for a while, and although I experienced different abuse in my life, I can completely relate to what she's going through. And I'm not just talking about with the Orono Police Department, but in other aspects of our lives. And unfortunately, it's odd that I would be here tonight suggesting that y'all think about the Orono Police Department again, because I know that's been an issue with this council. I definitely know it has. And living in Orono, I've been subjected to what you wouldn't believe. I mean, we've had 33 police reports on our property for never a crime committed. I've got a police file this thick when I've never done anything wrong. I've been criminally prosecuted 4 times by the Orono Police Department, my wife once. Exonerated in every single trial completely. We're 4 times more likely to win the Powerball than we are to get off. 5 times in Hennepin County. It's crazy what we've had to deal with. And I'm here to give you all a cautionary tale that the Orono Police Department is what it is. There are many things I happen to know that the community doesn't, because I put in a data request that the Orono Police Department fought me getting. And when it comes to the unfortunate circumstances a couple of years ago with Julissa Thaler, I'm appalled by how the Orono Police Department reacted. And I'm going to be publishing that for everybody to know. Because it's important that our community understands who's protecting us. It's extremely important. And it's not just me. This is a member of the community that came to me looking for a little bit of guidance with them. And fortunately, I kind of understood how to help her. And that's why she's here asking you. And I think you're wrong to necessarily say we're contracted with them. I think you need to say we are contracted with them. We do need to demand what we need to for our residents at this point. And if you all choose to move forward, because there are other options for your community, Minnetrista's next door, Hennepin County Sheriff, you could find your own way to police yourselves in a manner that you feel better you can protect yourselves. And I don't feel good coming forward saying this, but I feel confident coming forward saying this because of the information I've gathered over the years and I've personally experienced. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Jay.
All right, anybody else? All right, number 6, we got Orono Police Department with December 2024 activity report.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Going through our calls for December to the end of December, December 31st, 2024. We currently have 76 calls for service. Again, they're ranging from your disorderlies, your domestic-related offenses, your medicals, your thefts, your welfare checks, vehicle accidents, damaged property, DWIs, and mental health calls. There's been no spike as far as things around this time of year. Things are getting quiet because of the cold weather, but we still continue to have the same kind of activity as usual. That being said, too, we've been concentrating on this. We haven't had a lot of snow, but we've been really watching the streets so that one night that it does decide to come, we have the streets cleared for this public works to be out there and working without issue. Nothing else more to report other than we have some events coming. We have the Polar Plunge, the 25th coming up. Our trimester for our department has ended January 6th, so that means we flip-flop. Guys and gals change schedules. We do have a new investigative sergeant, and we have one new investigator in our department as of now. The other ones have come back to the road to work, so they will be transitioning in here over the month and learning the job as it goes. Other than that, there is nothing more other than we have our new officer that you guys all met last month. She's progressing well into phase 2 and doing very well so far. So.
Will you still be doing the summary reports?
Yes, I will. Yep, I'll be here every night this year. So.
Great, thanks.
Does council have any other questions?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, given what we've had a resident in our community just report to us, could we get an overview of how the department handles domestic calls? You know, what are the processes and the protocols
For
in reporting?
Domestic calls?
For domestic calls. Because, you know, we constantly, that is a category that is, every month we've got calls on that. And so if her case was 21, I would hope that it's better than what she experienced now. But I'd like to know what that process is.
So domestics
Not
are.
that you have to answer it now, it can
Okay.
come next time.
Yeah, what I can do is I can have our chief put something together for you guys that shows you our policies and procedures that will talk to that and fill you guys in as to how we handle. We're mandated by post, and we're mandated by the state as how to organize and go through on these cases. You know, they're all different, they all have their own entities, so trying to tell you, you know, we pull out a book and we just go down the list. It ain't how it happens. We have to have experienced officers and experienced investigators that are working to.
And is the social worker now involved in that, the one that's assigned to the department?
We, again, case-by-case basis, if the social worker becomes involved, typically we send things over to her a lot to view them and see what her point of view on it as a kind of a separate entity of our department.
Yeah,
if
well,
there's any
domestic
resources.
violence is an issue that hasn't gone away. In 1970, I helped women's advocates create the first shelter for battered women in this state, and we still have issues with handling those cases. And I would hope that your process is one that is both reflective of sensitivity and justice for people who are experiencing that challenge. And I would like to kind of have a little bit more reporting on it.
I just had a quick question. So you're, the newest officer completed training, and then are you staffed or like still?
Yep, she's in phase 2, she's got 5 phases, but she's moving along, but we will be up on all our staff by then. So,
Nice.
provided no one else decides to leave or retire, so.
Anybody else have anything? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, number 7, we got receive final plans and authorize bidding for water treatment infrastructure improvements, Phase 1, city project PW 25-12.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Matt Bauman, City Engineer. I'm pleased to be with you tonight. Tonight we are here to present talk through the final plans of the Phase 1 piece of the water treatment infrastructure improvements. And so this is a project that will go from Cypress Lane on the west there over to Chateau Lane and then up to the water tower on Chateau Lane. And so this is just one piece of it. We're going to upsize that water main along this corridor here, and the reason we are here with this one first is with pending county projects on County Road on CASA 15, we want to get this done as quickly as possible. So our engineer's estimate is $1.19 million, and that's just a little bit under the original study estimate of $1.2 million for this piece of it, and that's again just a part of the $10.3 million that was awarded by the state in 2023, and then updated in the summer of last year to give us final approval. So with that, I'll take any other questions. Otherwise, you have a resolution to give us final authorization to put this project out for bid.
Can you just kind of explain a little bit, maybe with the pointer up on that map? So that's all underground, the infrastructure. I'm trying to understand exactly what's happening. It's all underground.
Yeah. So right now, there's an existing water main that runs in all these locations. And so we're going to pipe burst, so underground, we're just gonna replace in kind, a little bit larger pipe in that location. There's one block where we need to drill a new line off to the side because the other pipe won't break up the way that we would need it to. And then this piece here, that's actually a ductile iron pipe, and so that one also won't break up, so that piece is gonna get open cut for replacement. And then, since we're talking about it, the 2 crossings here at Cypress and at Wilshire, the existing pipes there are in casings, and those we need to actually open cut, open trench replace, and so we're gonna have to close those two intersections for about 2 weeks.
That was my next
Yeah.
question. Do you have to disrupt the roads?
Yes,
then?
we are,
Okay.
unfortunately, with this one.
Okay.
So we looked at, we didn't want to, but that's the best solution for getting that done.
And you couldn't have done it while it was all ripped up?
There's too many other things
Going on.
in the way, and we didn't have approval to do the work yet. So we had to get approval, we had to get the money, and then get it designed. And so that's why we're here now, and trying to get it done as quickly as we can this spring.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just to clarify, so this is just a resolution for authorization for bid, right?
Correct. So there'll be another Phase 1 project, mostly on County Road 110, or Phase 2 project that's on County Road 110, that's water main related, and then we will have a bid for well installation, probably early summer, and then once those are all done, then we will have a resolution to submit to the PFA to start getting reimbursement grants.
And this is for the new filtration system?
So,
Water treatment improvements?
yeah, so it's a piece, so right now there's a well at this tower, and
Yeah, I know.
in order for us to do the treatment plant over on the other site, this well is gonna eventually be decommissioned, and so we need to upsize the main so that things flow smoothly back and forth between the towers, whereas now it's pumped in right at that tower. Eventually won't be able to do that, so we gotta provide a little more capacity in the mains to get it in there to keep everything flowing.
Got it. I'm sure you've explained that before, but it's been a while, so thanks for re-explaining.
Not a problem.
All right, does council have any other questions? All right, so we got a resolution on page 136. Someone wants to make a motion?
Motion for a resolution receiving plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids for the water treatment infrastructure improvements project phase 1.
All right, got a motion. Can I get a second?
Second?
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, that passed. Thanks. All right, number 8, we got receive engineering study and authorize final plans and bidding for County Road 15 sidewalk improvements, project PW 2508 and PW 2509.
All right, thank you. Again, Matt Bauman, city engineer. And so tonight we're presenting the feasibility study for the sidewalk improvements on CSAP 15, similar area to the water main project we just talked about. And this has been a project that's been a few years in the making as well. So related to the other projects, Hennepin County this year is planning to mill and overlay CSAP 15. So once they mill and overlay the road, then there's a 5-year moratorium, so no elective digging, the only emergencies after that for the next 5 years. So there's been several projects kind of trying to get out of the way, collaborative process here. So as you're all aware, the force main project and sanitary sewer last year, that was the biggest disruption of the roadway. Then the trail crossing upgrades is also a piece of that. There's private utility replacements, so I believe the gas company is still trying to get some of their repairs done as well. And then we just talked about water main upgrades coming, and then the last piece of it before they can do the mill and overlay is some sidewalk improvements and pedestrian. So here you can see the map, so the yellow area is what there is CSAP 15 mill and overlay that they're planning to do later in the summer. That goes from Black Lake Road and Spring Park all the way to the west city limits. And so just a little bit more background on it. The city's been completing county road sidewalk piecemeal improvements since 2021, so that's been kind of with the downtown paperwork. Then we've been working up 110 and then a little bit on 15, so picking away at some of the pieces of it. But, we alerted the county in 2023 that, a big chunk of that roadway was beyond just what we feel is the city responsibility. So the sidewalks are kind of a shared responsibility. The county administers them, the city does minor repairs and maintains them, cleaning the sidewalk, and then if there's cracks and stuff like that, then we go after those. But once it reaches a certain threshold of kind of dilapidation, then the county will participate in repairs, or if they lead a project, they'll participate in the cost for the repairs. And so in '23, we submitted to them to get some cooperation on a project. They agreed and pledged funds for expense in 2025, and then with all the other projects, they weren't able to complete all the pedestrian ramp improvements. So I'll get to that in the next slide here, but they asked if we would manage getting those final ones done, and they're going to cover the full cost of getting the full cost for design and construction of the pedestrian ramps. All right, so we have a 3-part project. So there's a city-only portion from Belmont Lane to Fairview Lane. So that's less than 50% of the walks need repairs, and approximately 30% in our estimation there. And then there's a joint cost portion from Fairview Lane to the Seton Channel on the east piece of town. So that's greater than 50% of the area needs repairs. About 55-60% is what we're coming up with. And that's a cost share of the mainline walks. And then there's the ADA improvements. That's 100% county funded. Work was unable to be done in the prior years. So all the other stuff going on. So the blue, again, is the city-only piece here, about 30% of those walks. The red is the shared mainline walk that we'll split the cost of those. And then the black stars are all of the pedestrian ramps that there's just too many other projects going on that they didn't feel they could get them done efficiently. So then summary of the costs here, the top table is the blue and the stars, and so the city of Mound's portion of that is just under $300,000 estimated total project cost. Hennepin County's portion is $525,000 roughly, and then total project for that would be $825,000. Then maybe I had my colors mixed up there, but the west side there, the blue, that comes in to just around $326,000 for city costs there. Add all that up, that's $1.15 million total. City of Mound is 526,000, and then Hennepin County 625,000. And they'd pledged, 500 for the mainline walks and 220 for the ADA improvements, so we're within budget there. And then the city is gonna pay for them kind of with the revamped long-term financial plans of using portions of bond proceeds and then use of city's municipal state aid fund dollars to kind of offset those costs. That's how that'll be handled. So the project schedule, again, in 2023, we submitted for funding participation. In October, you authorized a study. Tonight, you're here, we received the study, authorized final plans and bidding. March would be our goal to advertise for bids. April, actually, my goal would be late March, that we would have the bid and award it, so that we can, again, get into construction very early. We met with the county on Friday, so after I completed this, and that they reiterated they would like us done by the end of June if possible, so that they can get in shortly after that. So,
Nice.
yeah, right, so next steps would just request council action for consideration to accept the study and authorize final design of these two projects.
All right, does council have any questions for?
You're probably tired of Mound sidewalks by the state of the
This
game.
might be the last one. Yeah.
All right, not hearing any, can I get a motion on page 153?
I can make a motion for a resolution to receive report and authorizing prep of plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids for County Road 15 sidewalks replacement projects, Belmont to Fairview and Fairview to Seaton, project 2508 and 2509.
All right, got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, that passes.
All
Thanks.
right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Matt.
All right, number 9, we got the nature park.
All right, Mayor and Council, Maggie Reisdorf, Deputy City Manager. I am gonna kick off this item for review and discussion. So in my memo, I explained that the Park Commission has been working or having a discussion with a resident, Tyler Piper, on a native garden expansion project at Edgewater Park. So Tyler has been in front of the council in the past with similar requests. There was a smaller project at Edgewater Park in the past, and then 2 other projects, including one last year at Belmont Park. So these are wildflower native garden projects. And so what they do, Tyler will explain kind of the benefits of these plantings in the park, especially like some of them being bee-friendly environments, and also, what was I going to say? Also, an attractive addition to some of our parks as well. They've been reported to me specifically that people have enjoyed visiting these locations, specifically just to see the plantings and kind of throughout the seasons, the changing of the different flowers that are there. So the request this evening is to expand the Edgewater Park project. It's a unique park as far as it's a little hilly, and so the Park Commission decided that it might be a good park to do a kind of a unique project at, because they decided it is a little bit more difficult to kind of put a playground there or other park features, and so they thought this would be a good good location to discuss expanding. So Tyler did bring the proposal, and he will, that was included in your packet. If you have any questions, Tyler will kind of review a little bit more in detail about that. The park did want to invite residents of the Edgewater area to the meeting. We didn't receive anyone in person, but I did receive a phone call and an email about Just some concerns about the way that the gardens can look at times. They can look dried up, and they wanted to make sure that the city would be maintaining those areas and making sure that they looked nice, and if they weren't, then they were not in favor of the project. The Park Commission did talk about that, and so I think there's going to be some ongoing discussion with that, but some options were putting mulch around the edging to kind of make the curb appeal look a little more clean. They are, one thing to take into consideration is there are, I think, and Tyler would know better than me, but over the season, I think different flowers are maturing at different times, so some flowers will look drier, and I think it's the first year that they need to be watered continuously, but then the maintenance goes down after year one as far as watering, but we do need to maintain the weeding and the making sure the mulch still looks nice and everything. So I did, so that is something we're in the process of addressing if that is a concern, but the Park Commission did recommend moving forward with the project. Again, Tyler's going to talk more about it. The request this evening is related to a grant submittal. So Tyler is hoping to submit for grant funding for this project through Hennepin County Good Stewart Grant, their Good Stewart Grant, and that would cover most of the cost of the project. If we did receive the grant, the city would be responsible for about $1,750 of the cost. But I need to look into that a little bit more because some of it might be in kind, which could include park staff time, and which we've done in the past and is being requested again. So it would be clearing the site with a machine and helping with some of the watering and the mulching. So that's something we'll continue to look at. But so this evening, the Park Commission is asking, or is making a recommendation to the City Council to allow Tyler to apply for the grant to see if we can get that funding, to then, if we do get the funding, move forward, and to approve up to $1,750 towards the project. So that's my explanation, but Tyler is here to explain the project a little bit more and to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thanks.
All right, welcome, Tyler. Nice to see you again.
Thank you, and thanks for having me back, and thank you, Maggie, for that introduction, almost a little biology lesson that you've adopted, so thank you. She covered most of it, but Tyler Piper, 5504 Church Road. This is my, I believe, third time in front of the City Council for a project, and this time I was hoping to get more bang out of our buck, I guess, collective buck. So with this submittal, as Maggie noted, what I'm hoping is to get your commitment that should I be awarded, that I would be able to secure that funding, and they do have in-kind funding. I'll send you a link to the Good Steward Grant, but something we can look into. But with that commitment, that's one of the final pieces on my application that I was hoping to submit. Its deadline is January 23rd. So it's coming up pretty quick, but that's why it was great for you all, and I appreciate it to get me on the docket today, and thank you, Maggie and team, for doing that. To summarize why I'm doing this, it was part of the grant, and I don't expect you to have to read it all, but being where we are in terms of Harrison's Bay, and I know actually the Harrison Bay Lake organization, I can't remember the exact name, they had been awarded this grant funding prior, so they have some experience, but probably similar to their application, there are benefits to native plants in terms of reduction of minerals and nutrients that are going into our lake. Harrison's Bay has been designated as an impaired body source, so that was a big aspect of my application. Being in Hennepin County, we are blessed to have a really strong population of the endangered rusty patch bumblebee. I've documented a couple in my native plantings here, and so that's another aspect where, very similar to the feeling you would get when you'd see a bald eagle in your lake here, or, those start to come back. I'm sure some are old enough to remember. But we have a chance to do something like that, and it is unique because they're insects, and so you don't have to save an entire lake. You can save small portions and give them little places to thrive. As Maggie noted, there's also just the park beautification. I love the park's location. It has this kind of beautiful overlay of the lake that you can catch through a few of the taller houses, and it's used more, at least when I was using it, as a place to run and then run through. And hopefully with the gardens, it's a little more of a place where people can relax, enjoy the natural beauty that we have surrounding us, and enjoy the native plants as well. I can talk to my experience. This is a larger project, obviously, than the previous installations, and my hope is that the success with those, the most recent one being this year, would demonstrate my commitment. On the very first Belmont installation, I had committed to 3 years. I think it's been 4 years on that aspect of it, and I don't want to stop weeding, so if you want me to, I can, but I enjoy it. That's kind of my go-to happy spot, and it would be the same commitment with this. It's a larger aspect, but I've also been doing this, not really professionally, but on a volunteer and part-time basis while I was unemployed during the summer. So I have experience with projects this large, and so again, the hope is I can have your commitment if I can get that grant, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this point regarding layout or what your thoughts are on the current Edgewater Park situation. Open for anything.
Does council have any questions for Tyler?
Well, I just have a comment. I think your layout looks really nice, but I'm in agreement that maybe there have been a few people that have called in and said at certain times of year, these sustainable flower plots can look pretty bad. Have you given any thought to how you could address that?
Yeah, actually, I used, this is a theme in my life, but when you could look at things as either a problem or an opportunity, and so what I saw there was an opportunity for interpretive signs, and part of it is, can I meet that comment in the middle? So natural space, a natural garden, it incorporates in the dead flowers. There's an average of 5 to like 15 different organisms, bees that will overwinter and that kind of thing. So there's an imperative to keep some of that, but also I grew up in that landscaping routine where if it doesn't look good from the road, it's looked at as bad, and then you've kind of failed. You know, it's not, we have a city for people, not for bees. So I think that's a very important aspect. And so having signs that could educate about the different seasons, and then there can be beauty in winter remains of flowers, but then also keeping kind of a more strict maintenance level, especially that mulch layer was a big aspect that Maggie mentioned, but also then trimming some of the things during the season. There's also opportunities with the amount of seeds produced that we can, again, compromise and get the best out of the situation, where if we cut off at some years and left only stubble, it's a lot more of a uniform appearance, and then we could harvest those seeds and use them proactively in the city. I collected in the pounds worth of seeds from my own gardens and the plots I've installed at the community garden, and by weight, it's in the thousands of dollars. And so, I mean, if the city is ever, buying seeds or redoing a natural area, we will have the resource. It's not mentioned in this grant, but it's kind of a self-sustaining way if you know how to do it. And so, I am serious about the concerns about the weeding and the natural look. Part of it is not going to be a petunia grass garden, and that's by design, and there is nothing wrong with those gardens, but I think it's part of the fun challenge to me is how can we continue to make the neighbors proud of that area. And so I don't have the exact answer I wanted to give you right now, but it's important to me to make sure that standard is met for them.
Thank you.
All right. So is there some kind of action on this, or?
Yeah, so I think, do you want to pull up my memo? Yeah, I am. So there's 3 recommendations, and I believe you can tie it all in. So it's approval of the design of the project, just a garden project itself. Collaboration and approval to submit the grant to Hennepin County, and then if the grant is received, approve up to $1,750 in financial support, and keeping in mind the in-kind allocation towards that, and then city support for, similar to the past, that Public Works can assist in clearing and prepping the site with watering, mulching, and then other minor tasks.
Okay, so this is one action.
I mean, you can do separate, it's kind of, yeah, I guess I would ask Scott.
Can we do that one there?
These are those three, the three recommendations that are up there.
Yeah.
It's not a resolution itself, right?
No.
I mean, it's no written resolution, but,
No.
I mean, you can do a, motion to, motion to pass the recommendations that are in the staff report.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
I have a
Councilmember
comment,
Herrick?
yes. Believe me, you have done a beautiful job and you've put a lot of work into this, I can tell. I've got a couple questions. So first of all, Edgewater, according to our list, is considered an open play field. Obviously, this is going to change that, correct?
Can we put up the
The graphic, oh,
Google
sorry.
Maps? Do you have like a,
What you're showing.
This,
No, he's asking.
this thing, oh, yeah, this is just what the city has out on the public website that lists the different maps.
Oh, yeah.
The different
Locations. Don't worry about that. I'm just asking the question, how does that fall out? I mean, is everybody okay with that? I know we've asked some of the neighbors. I also have a question about the grant. If we are awarded the grant, and let's say we deem that this property needs to be sold or assigned or offered to the two adjoining properties, can we move those plants to another location, or are we gonna have to give the money back, or how does that work?
so I think he's working on,
I would say that it would need to align with whatever the grant says as far as commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would not be something that you would be easily able to do until the contract is complete.
I believe there was a 5-year commitment on this one, so it'd be
requirement?
2028. And in terms of the play area, I can reinforce, this was a concern that came up with the original planting in that the resident on the house, I'm trying to get my directions here,
Right.
which would be that's north.
North is
east.
Edgewater, right.
That would be on the east. They had used that in the past when they had rented for summer guests for volleyball, and that had been a concern. With the garden installed, I now believe it's been 3 years. I had been checking, I don't believe that had been raised in the past, and I had been making efforts to try to, reach out to the neighbors, get to know them a little bit. I'm over there pretty often. But again, I'm not raising that as a pro or con, but just to reinforce that had been brought up in the past, and it was something we had looked at and had gone through with the plan.
Right, and I know the Parks Commission has reviewed this, but do we have any idea of cost for maintenance that's going to be required on behalf of the city? I mean,
I think similar to the other parks, there is, we've committed to helping prep the site and the mulching. So there would be ongoing mulching, which we do at our parks already.
right,
And then Tyler has stated that he's going to be volunteering as well. The first year, there is a commitment to watering. But as my understanding is after the year and everything's established, there's no watering needed.
And all planting, all weeding, all kind of just general maintenance if a plant dies or we start to get too much seeding in one location, I've been handling that.
Right.
And so that's part of the cost, hopefully deferred from the city, and that my time spent there. And then like Maggie said, it's watering, which last year, actually, the city didn't water once for me in Belmont, which was great. We had that wonderful spring. And so,
sure.
there's possibility that's zero and expense there. And then it was the extra mulch from the pile and then the time it took to clear. And that was about the city extent that I had you guys out to the park. So the idea would be to stick with what's worked before. So
Right.
clear the land and water if necessary. I do the rest, and hopefully down the road, who knows, we could look into, burning solutions or fun stuff like
I
that.
think
But
there was something burn mentioned in here, which obviously is a concern, given California right now. But I guess the question I have is, I know that like this Carlson Park that's over on Seton Channel, I've heard from some of the community over there that they're very unhappy with the way that looks. I don't think it's necessarily our department's problem or fault, because I've got a garden like this in my front yard that's kind of gone crazy, and it is a problem to deal with. And once these plants get to be 2 and 3 feet tall and they die off, it looks like a weeded mess. So how do we address that and how do we handle that moving forward? I appreciate the fact that you're volunteering, but, you know, lives change, people move, you know, I mean, we've got a commitment from you for maybe a year, but then our, you know, our internal departments are gonna have to deal with it moving forward, and that's what I'm concerned about. You know, what's the cost to the city to maintain that 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? This is a lot of mulch, and believe me, Jason, you can attest to the fact, I lay a lot of mulch every season, to the tune of about 100 bags, and it's labor intensive, you know, so.
And the mulch will be just for year one. Usually by that time, enough of it kind of decays into that border.
Okay.
And then after that, in terms of clearing, the hope is, obviously with this one, I'm on there for 5 years. But after that, my hope is to continue working with the city, and part of the follow-up here, especially with Belmont, I mean, these are very close to my heart, and it sounds like with your garden
Close
as
to where
well,
you
you know,
live,
you wouldn't
right.
sell it for the world. In that, should anything happen, should I have to leave for a new job or family circumstance or whatever it would be, it would pain me dearly to leave it unattended. And so, maybe some follow-up if you would like, you know, just off the record, but on some of the, you know, turf versus native grass, I think there's trade-offs on both. I
Right.
think there's an appeal with turf grass, but in terms of watering, fertilizing, reseeding, and especially in that area that had that emerald ash dieback, in terms of what can grow there, it's a challenging site. And so that's where these native plants were selected to kind of thrive in that, mostly sun, but kind of partitioned by those dying trees. And then we've got that shade area at the bottom. So hopefully with the maintenance I could do has always been enough, but I think also some of those expectations, will there always be people who see a native garden and think it looks unruly? Yes. I mean, that is part of it, and is that a concern that should be addressed? Yes. But it's always been my experience that you can win over people with meeting them, like I said, in the middle, trying to find ways that, can I clear cut the garden after, you know, right after every time? Probably not, but can I start doing a trim that's a little more even, or getting some machinery, or working with the city, you know, on maintenance plans so that's done? I think that's a great suggestion.
Right. Yeah, because I know we have an issue with Met Council at the water treatment plant, and this is the same type thing, you know, I think it's a lovely, commendable idea to help the bees. I mean, like I said, I've got a garden full of bee balm and phlox and everything else, it's going crazy. So, I just want to make sure that the city understands that this is a long-term commitment, and I mean, we're spending money, taxpayers' dollars. Are we going to get the benefit out of it, and are we going to be able to maintain it in the future? Because that grant money, I don't know if there's anywhere else we might want to use that. I have no idea what's going on with that. That's the parks, open spaces. But I mean, we're at a timeline here where he's got to have an answer, so I get that. It's a little late to discuss it, but sorry, I'm new.
No, keep going.
Thank you.
Great questions.
We had a workshop right before this, and we actually, I don't know if we specifically talked about this property, but we mentioned, you know, basically parks or grass or whatever you want to call this thing, that, you know, yeah, there's no playground, there's, you know, but yeah, there's a picnic table and a parking spot, and, you know, someone can come and look out over the lake or whatever. Is that something that we were gonna look into, that we're gonna put on our list of, you know, can the neighbor purchase, you know, that lot, and then the other neighbor purchases, you know? So that, I mean, that's in the back of my head, talking about this whole thing. I know
It's a bigger problem than.
we're on a deadline here, but,
Basically, we think it's time to assess and reevaluate all the parks in Mound, all 37? Do we have 37 parks? I think we do. And so it's just interesting timing is what I think Councilmember Herrick was referring to, and Mayor Holt, that was ding, ding, ding right away. It was like, geez, what if we decide, you know, we look at with our, you know, city manager and
Staff, right.
with the staff, and determine, you know, this maybe is up for another opportunity. Where would you land with that if you got it, you know, approved for the grant, I
Is
think?
it specific to location, or could we use it elsewhere in Mound, I guess maybe is the question, because this isn't gonna we're not gonna get money tomorrow, right? I mean, it
Well,
takes
it
a
would
while to
be,
process.
it would be for the planting of 2025, so everything is designed for the park, and so,
Spring. Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I can go on the record that I personally really enjoyed this park, and so hopefully, as the city is looking into uses and, broadens out to the residents and how they would view the decision, but in terms of what might happen, I can look into the grant and try to follow up, but I believe it'll be a 2028 commitment, so a way of looking at that is another positive, if these native plants go and we have to put up a tower here in 5 years, it was 5 years worth of native plants and benefit. In 5 years that extra runoff that is going into our stormwater system didn't go into Lake Minnetonka and Harrison Bay. Is that a negative? No, and I don't think it would necessarily have to be a reason to stop the project. Would I be disappointed if that happened and, the things got sold or plowed under, of course, but I think in the meantime, why not go for it? Why not try?
So you're saying again, if we said yes, then, and you planted, I mean, we're committed on that property?
To at least 5 years.
To that specific property. then.
Yes, and also,
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there could be, I'm not a lawyer, but legal ways to get out of it. It's a pretty small commitment, $5,000 or, $1,000 actually on your guys' part, and then whatever we would have to pay back in terms of the commitment. But, again, the hope is too that maybe this could be a chance to demonstrate the park's worth and create a place where people would want to gather and have that sense of community up there where it's, it's a unique area. It's a tough road. It's a place where I believe the POSC has looked in terms of can we build infrastructure, not necessarily, but in terms of, by the lake locations, it's a unique one, so.
I think there's also the reality that while I am not in favor of selling off parklands, for those of you who are, we're not going to do it in 2025.
Right, in
It's
2
going to
years,
take a
yeah.
process. So even if it were the fact that the city was going to sell off parklands, we're really talking 2026 or 2027 before that happens. So
My
in the
concern would
meantime,
be
we
all
can
his
have.
hard work too. I mean, if we could move the plants, I think that would be an
Well,
excellent solution.
yeah, they could be.
And that actually, I have time. I think that's a good idea in terms of should the park be moved, like put an addendum, an added item in there. Should vocation be disturbed or should something happen, we will move as many plants as possible. Now, I want to be honest, you can move a lot. Some plants, as you know, with natives, and this was the benefit, their taproots can go, I'm not exaggerating, 10 feet down.
Yeah.
And so when you have that, you're basically have to clear cut it and then start over from scratch, which again, if someone owns the property, that's their decision, but again,
Right.
yeah. It's the risk with all native plantings is you never know, and I've done projects for people who may sell the next year, but, it's an interesting conversation. Still for it, though.
Where do the trees go that you're purchasing and shrubs? Are they, I was just trying to figure out real quick.
Yeah, so in the map, I kind of have them arranged at the kind of tips of each garden.
Okay.
So keeping it in a way that, in all these gardens, the native plantings I've done, you can kind of see they're in the tops there.
So those are actually locations of the trees?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, just kind of
Great.
in that general area. I didn't want to nail it down too much, but alternating between plum, serviceberry, and there was some interest from the POSC about, these are edible things too, so drawing people on something fun to do is, the plum trees I have in my house are 6 or 7 years old, and they produce in the pounds now, and it's a really fun experience. A lot of wildlife, gets there, and it's a beautiful thing.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We're gonna discuss it.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
I know this is our last topic, and I know there's a few people here. Does anybody want to talk about this, or is anybody here for this? Okay, just wanted to double check.
Hear about the Bartlett Boulevard subdivision thing.
Well, that was on the consent.
Got a letter?
Oh, on the consent agenda?
Yeah, and you went right over it. You didn't mention it.
Well, we,
Approved it.
okay,
Yeah, I know. I've been waiting for something to,
okay, well,
We approved it.
we did approve it already. Let's finish this, and then if you want to stick around, we can chat about that quick. So nobody's here for that. I don't know, I mean, this is the park that I have in my brain when I go, the neighbor could buy half of it, the other neighbor could buy the other half.
I think you have to quit speculating about what could be and what is.
Well, we have
at this
to have a
point.
workshop and figure out, is this something we want to
But
do?
timing-wise, we're committed
Yeah,
to the
I mean,
deadline here,
you
so I
know.
mean, as long as we have the ability to either move the plants or do, it's gonna take us more than, like Sherry said, more than a year or two to, if we decide we do wanna look at selling it, that's not gonna happen tomorrow, so.
Right.
I'm in favor of it. I mean, I look at it as like, there's a net gain to having someone that engaged in your parks and
Right.
literally looking at it at the map, at a bird's eye view. I mean, that cost is a very small amount of equipment or a bench or, I mean, Public Works cares a lot about how the parks look too, and like knowing that they were supportive of the Belmont
Sure.
project. I don't know what the other one was or the previous Edgewater, like,
Edgewater.
they're supportive of someone being that engaged, making the parks look as good as they can, so. I don't really see a big downside that might come later with, I don't think we should speculate on what might happen later for
Yeah.
a project of this size.
I don't know.
I'd move that we pass the recommendations for the Edgewater Park project.
Okay, so I got a motion to approve what's on the screen here. Can I get a second?
So there's a motion to approve the three
The three.
recommendations?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, second.
Okay, so I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Aye. What did you vote for?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, aye. Aye means yes, doesn't it?
Well, then I said opposed, and then I said aye for opposed.
No, sorry,
Okay,
I'm confused.
okay, so I voted against it.
In favor of it.
All right, I voted against it, everybody else voted for it, so congrats.
Thank you very much for
Yep.
your consideration.
Thank you.
All right, all right,
Thank
thank
you.
you, yep. Okay. I think he's talking to her. but-
Mr. Mayor,
Yep.
could we open up to let the residents who had an issue with our consent agenda item
Yeah, that's
to
weird.
speak?
Yeah,
Can we reopen
he's
that?
kinda filling
Can I
her
make a
in.
motion to?
well, I don't know,
reopen
I think we can
discussion?
reopen it, but we can talk to her.
But, no, the item's done, but the mayor or council can ask people to come up and provide information on anything you
Yeah.
want.
Ma'am, did you want to come up and talk at all, or did you get your explanation?
Me?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, he explained everything.
you're good, okay. All right.
Thank you.
All
The
right.
letter was not at all enlightening,
Okay,
not at all.
So the letter that went out, you need me to.
Can someone-
go ahead,
Yeah.
come on up
Yeah.
and give us your name.
This is one of my neighbors on my street on Lakewood. My name's Matt Jakubik. I'm at 2561 Lakewood Lane. I'm one of the mentioned parties in the letter that kind of went out from Sarah.
Yeah.
Mentioning, so the property's within 350 feet. The last time she had seen it, had come a fourth, and we had not had the opportunity to come up with the agreement that was put on the consent agenda.
Right.
So she didn't know. So once I explained it to her, which her goal was for the woods to stay the woods.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's all
Okay.
good.
Good.
So
All
she
right.
just wasn't sure, so she just needed some clarification on the letter that she had gotten.
Okay, got it.
And you got to enjoy a full council meeting that you didn't plan on.
And she's still awake.
So,
Thank you.
All right. All right, so number 9, we got comments and reports from Councilmember Pugh.
Well, Gillespie Center is doing quite well. They've got a lot of activities going on, and it seems that they're dealing with some long-term maintenance issues on their building, but they're doing well. The other thing I did this week, because I was very upset with what is going on at the state capitol, especially because I think it can have negative impact on our ability to get funding for water. So I did put in a call to both Representative Myers and Senator Johnson Stewart, I always want to mix her names wrong, about my concern that this is not a time for gamesmanship between the parties. If people get elected, they get elected. If you have a divided government, you have a divided government. But let's get the work done in the state. And I'd encourage anyone from Mound to call them and tell them, we need them to work to get our water system done. Even my medical doctor, when I went to see my doctor this month, she was saying, oh, you can't drink your water, can you, in Mound? my medical doctor, my internist, right? So let's get them serious about doing the work that needs to be done.
Did they call you back, or?
I didn't get a call back. I talked to Myers' aide,
Okay,
and I have not gotten a call back from Johnson.
okay.
But I know, and I don't know what happened today. Did they actually
They
get the
didn't show up.
quorum to convene? I don't think they did. No, so,
Okay. If you
That's
need
my
anybody's
news.
cell phone number, let me know.
yeah.
And that's it, you got? Anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay. Councilmember McEnany?
I don't have anything, being it's the first meeting of the year, but I will remind any hardy souls out there that the Polar Plunge, raising money for Special Olympics, is Saturday, the 25th, and it's a really fun event, even to come watch. So, good luck to our deputy city manager did the plunge last year, so.
I'm committed again.
And it's a lot colder this year. Last year was a beautiful day.
Yes, it was.
Jesse, you doing it?
No, I'm not.
I'll not do it with you.
Solidarity.
That's it, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Castellano?
I don't have anything, no.
Okay. Councilmember Herrick?
I don't have anything either, thank you.
All right. I met with the new mayor of Orono, Mayor Tunheim, I think you say, Robert. Had a good meeting. You know, he's brand new, obviously. As you know, we have Orono Police, so want to make sure, you know, he mentioned, you know, that we had some discussions last year, so just chatted about that, and he also talked about fire coverage and stuff, and I told him kind of what our plans were already, but maybe down the road, there might be something there, but yeah, good meeting. Coming up here, I think really for the council members, City Day on the Hill. If you want to go down to the Capitol, and I think it's one of the hotels downtown, St. Paul. The three of us went last year. Governor spoke, the
Leadership from both.
leadership from both parties were there, they spoke. You get to meet some of the people, so it's kind of, you know, if you want to sign up to go, March 6th, is it? March 6th?
Yeah.
You went last year too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we go over to the Capitol, and then we got a meeting with our
With
two,
both,
senator and representative.
mhm.
So that's a good time to, I mean, if you guys have time and you can take the day off or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
I hope you
And
go
I
again
think-
too.
I
but-
think we should try and meet with the chair of the committee that the bill
Yeah.
goes before too,
Yeah. And
and
that-
express to them, yeah.
And then I guess, do we know if that's gonna change this year? Senator Hoppus was last year.
You know, I don't know. I suspect it might have
That's
changed.
On the Senate
Yeah.
side.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah, I'm planning on going, but,
Yeah.
so if anybody else wants to join with.
And then there's the training in February too, for all of us.
Yeah.
Oh, the league?
Yeah. Huh,
The
yeah.
league?
Mhm.
Yeah, so can you just send that out to us again, so we all know, the training, as well as the City Day on the Hill?
Yeah, yep, I can. Yep, I have 2 signed up right now. If you are interested, I'll
Okay.
send a reminder.
Yeah,
For the training.
okay. And then, talked to the Lake Minnetonka Flats group, and, you know, I wrote down my notes and I left them somewhere else, I don't know where they are. But, big story short, as you guys walk or drive by, right, they're cooking. I didn't know you could do concrete in winter. It's crazy. They have a special mix, and they said they've been doing that for a long time. So they're just hustling, they're trying to, they said sticks by the end of February. So we'll see some framing and stuff, so that'll be pretty cool. Again, this is on memory, but I think August would be the first unit would be done, or at least shown, and I think whoever signed up for the first deposits. Am I wrong on any of this? Pretty close, right? Okay.
Oh, they already had deposits?
I'm saying if they have deposits
Oh.
on the first 4 units, you know, they would be moving in the summer. So, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah, that's all I got. Anything else from anybody else? Staff have anything? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we're adjourned.